Fatality.
This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
Okay, this was unexpected, but this happened today. This is Senator Chuck Schumer on the Senate floor today talking about how Bibi has lost his way. Now, this was a very nuanced speech. People say that it took him a month to write it and to decide to deliver it. So this is big. This is bigger than you think.
5 months into this conflict, it is clear that Israelis need to take stock of the situation and ask, must we change course? At this critical juncture, I believe a new election is the only way to allow for a healthy and open decision-making process about the future of Israel. At a time when so many Israelis have lost their confidence in the vision and direction of their government. I also believe a majority of the Israeli public will recognize the need for change, and I believe that holding a new election, once the war starts to wind down, would give Israelis an opportunity to express their vision for the post-war future. Of course, the United States cannot dictate the outcome of an election, nor should we try. That is for the Israeli public to decide, a public that I believe understands better than anybody that Israel cannot hope to succeed as a pariah opposed by the rest of the world. As a democracy, Israel has the right to choose its own leaders, and we should let the chips fall where they may. But the important thing is that Israelis are given a choice. There needs to be a fresh debate about the future of Israel after October 7th. In my opinion, that is best accomplished by holding an election.
Oh, my God. That's big. That's really big. Because, listen, Chuck Schumer, he has always been on the side of Israel, always. And there's a big lobby up there. There's that whole AIPAC lobby, American Israeli Political Action Committee, that I have always, despised, thinking that they needed to register as a foreign government influencing America. And they never have, and they never will. And it doesn't matter what I think anymore, because they have shown the entire world with the right-wing government, this is what Israel does. And the right wing's going to stick with the right wing. The right wing here is going to stick with the right wing there. And it's going to be to our detriment, just like it always is. The right wing, whenever the right wing of our government chooses war or peace, they always choose wrong. Always. When we had our terrorist attack, and it was humongous, we lost, almost 3,000 people. Israel lost 1,200 people, and it's a tiny little country. So that was like a major terrorist attack. And nobody, not me, not anybody who, looks to democracies around the world, to support democracies around the world, thought that their retaliation was wrong. I didn't, and I didn't. People, hated on me for really, a month. And I kept on saying, if this goes off the rails, if they do this stupid, if they get silly, if, Netanyahu abuses this, if he, self-serves based on this, at this point in, Israel's history, the whole world will turn on him. The whole world will turn on Israel, and Israel will lose its legitimacy. I said that on day one. And that has happened. And that has happened. But the right wing is going to stick with the right wing. The Putins of the world are going to stick with the Bibis of the world. The Bibis of the world are going to stick with the Trumps of the world. The Trumps of the world and the McConnells of the world and the right-wing lunatic fringe around the world, they're going to stick together. And there's never an egg timer around when you need one. Mitch McConnell ran as far as he can. My God. Mitch McConnell, in his final days as, Senate Majority Leader, ran or toddled to the floor of the Senate to call Chuck Schumer, who has always stood by Israel, names. Told him he was grotesque. Mitch McConnell calling someone pot meat kettle. I mean, I don't even know what to say. This was so outlandish and so uncalled for.
It is grotesque and hypocritical for Americans who hyperventilate about foreign interference in our own democracy to call for the removal of a democratically elected leader of Israel.
That's not what he did.
This is unprecedented. We should not treat fellow democracies this way at all. Things that upset left-wing activists are not a prime minister's policies. There is Israel's policies.
What?
Make no mistake,
No?
the Democratic Party doesn't have an anti-Bibi problem. It has an anti-Israel problem.
Yes, Chuck Schumer has an anti-Israel problem. Yeah, that's it. That's it, Mitch McConnell.
I really don't appreciate him being slick about hyperventilating about foreign interference in our. Yes, we are concerned about foreign interference in our elections, Mitch. Sorry, we are.
Yes, because it's happened. It's
He makes
past
it a
tense.
joke.
It's in the rearview mirror, number one. Number two, it's going on right now, like in present tense, like currently, like TikTok, okay? And number three, no one called for the removal of anybody. What Schumer was saying was Israel gets to choose its own destiny, but if you asked him in his opinion, and he's entitled to have one, especially since he has been inseparable from Israeli policy his entire Senate life, the entire time, okay? So he has some credibility here, Mitch. And he was saying it's time for new elections in Israel, in his opinion. No one was calling for the removal of anybody. I was, but I'm not, Senate, minority leader either. But, when you are supporting an ally, you expect or hope that their actions won't make your stomach turn. And when they do, Mitch, as a decent, principled person with a modicum of character and loyalty to your own nation and the danger it places your own nation in by not separating yourself from stomach-churning activities that are being undertaken by an ally of yours, then you lose. You lose every single solitary part of you. Everything. But look, in the end, Israel and the United States are thought of as one thing, in the Middle East especially. And the idea that we would sacrifice our national security for Benjamin Netanyahu's depraved, stomach-turning, anti-human, let them all get dysentery, I'm sorry. People can support somebody. They can support retaliation for, listen, 2,000. There were more than 2,000 terrorists. 2,000 terrorists came into southern Israel on October 7th. 2,000 of them. And they murdered and their way through the kibbutz, the kibbutzim, okay? All of the kibbutzes. Murdered their way through. Killed 1,200 people. Nobody expected there wouldn't be retaliation. Everybody expected it. Everybody, was kind of saying it needed to happen. It's the nature of human cruelty. I would like to see that removed from our genetic makeup, but that's not going to happen because, we're still arguing about groups of cells being persons. So much for science. But you can file your grievance with an ally when what they're doing is ugly, unnecessary, cruel for the sake of cruel. This is why I tell you Netanyahu is the Trump of the Middle East. And Vlad is the Trump of Europe. And Xi is the Trump of Asia. And you have some democracies. You got about 26 real democracies left in this world. And we get to say what is decent and what is moral too. But the bottom line, everybody, is that the United States it's got to separate itself from this. It has to. Because our national security is going to be compromised a lot. And in the end, that's all anybody should care about. So. But yeah, I mean, look, the idea that we need privacy laws, don't let that get lost on you. Because, you know, when the Chinese and the Russians have their druthers, what they want to do is make young voters, they want to make their stomachs churn. They want to make them turn away from democracy. And they've done that. They've done that. And it's time to now reorient all of them and us. Don't have time to listen to the live show? Want to hear more on your schedule? Go to randyrhodes.com and buy a stinking podcast.